Hey guys, I'm here bringing you another video. Now, welcome to another patch note video. And if I'm completely honest, I forgot the patch notes are out today. So you can see over here, it was 40 minutes ago they were launched. If you check these patch notes and you kind of pay attention to that, usually it's 3 minutes ago or 6 minutes ago. So yeah, I kind of forgot, but we're here. So let's get into the highlights. So it's not the biggest patch in the world, but some much needed changes. So you can see Kai'Sa is getting nerfed. So yeah, that's good. So we're going Aatrox nerfs, and I will say that one has been slightly not controversial in terms of it being nerfed, but it's a bit of the from what I can see, the community is a bit like, Riot, we told you, you didn't listen, because basically Aatrox got buffed either last patch or the patch before, and everybody was just like, those are going to make him broken, and they did. So yeah, sometimes I think Riot should, as we sometimes say, pay a bit more attention to the actual game and less to just numbers, because the feel of the game is very important, and sometimes the players' feel should be listened to a bit more. But we got nerfs to Aatrox, Ivan, Kai'Sa, Maokai, Sejuani, and Shyvana. Once again, obviously I've been playing already a bit of Shyvana, and yeah, they overbuffed her AD-ness, so they're already toning that down. We're getting buffs, however, to Caitlyn, Camille, Gwen, Nami, Talia, and then the Wind brothers, Yasuo, Yone. Personally, I don't think Yone needs much of a buff. They've been in my games recently, and they're fine. It's just a high-risk, high-reward champion. Although I would say Yasuo does. Again, Yasuo is a lot harder to play than Yone, and that does also reflect in how easy they can get fed, etc. We also have champion adjustments to Annie, Heimer, Rel, and Yorick. And we've got some system changes to Glacial Augment, Night Harvester, and Smite, which I've, again, heard through the grapevine. It's a bit controversial, this change, because they're basically reverting something that used to be. We're getting the kind of second half also to the other Soul Fighter skins. I might do a loot video when these get launched. I've not done a loot video on the Soul Fighter stuff yet, because I was kind of waiting for the others to get launched as well. So yeah, there might be one on August 3rd or August 4th if I do it around that time. So, Apex MMR duo restriction. So the MMR duo restriction for Apex ranks has been re-enabled. So, presumably, I didn't even know that, but because it's the start of a new split, I don't know why they do it, because Riot admit it's unhealthy to duo in Apex tiers, so Master and above, it makes the climb too easy. And then two, basically reliant on duoing. Otherwise, if you don't duo in Master and above, it's too much of a disadvantage not to duo. It's an advantage to duo in every rank, but they just don't want to make it like, oh, rank 1 is always duo queue, or rank 2 is always duo queue, which it kind of was in the past. But they're re-enabling it. So if you were a player in the last couple of weeks since Split 2, you're only duoing and you've made it to Master and you're still duoing, you won't be able to do it anymore. So that is going away again. And let's get into the champion adjustments. So Aatrox. Q damage decrease. So the Aatrox buffs from last patch went a bit away, basically. So yeah, everyone said that they would, but Riot did them anyway. So the final cast damage is getting toned down 10%, basically AD ratio. It's worth knowing, a lot of people I saw in the feedback were basically saying Riot is trying to make Aatrox the champion something that he isn't really. Aatrox isn't really designed to be, I'm going to one-hit, one-shot somebody in one combo. He never was. He was a high lifesteal duelist. Like, that was the whole point of him. You hit your combos, you trade with people, you're having an amazing duel, and you're kind of topping yourself up with your healing. The whole premise of, like, one-shotting everything is obviously what Riot wants the game to be, but that's not what Aatrox is supposed to be. So, yeah, hopefully this tone down will put him in a better place for the health of the game. Caitlyn, so passive critical strike chance scaling increased, and R crit strike chance additional damage increased. So, you know, realistically in AD carry right now, there's only a handful of AD carries that's worth playing. Most of them obviously involve static Shiv, and then if it doesn't involve static Shiv, it's one of the all-in ones that more users like Duskblade Drakthar, so like Draven, Samira. I'm even seeing Neela now. And unfortunately, the more like standard, you could say, crit-based AD carries are really falling behind. So Caitlyn, Jhin, those type of ones, you sometimes see them. And if they're against the Kai'Sa, they might do okay in lane phase, and then eventually they're just going to get annihilated later. So obviously we are getting a nerf to Kai'Sa later, but I don't know if this is going to do that much. Like Caitlyn, we'll see. But yeah, her crit strike rate coefficient is going up from 1.2 to 1.3. So this will grant plus 27 base damage at 100% crit strike chance. So her passive headshot, it's not too bad. And then her ultimate, again, it's obviously maximizing her crit build. I know some Caitlyn's, I've seen them, and I'm sure you have, are going like Duskblade of Drakthar, Dark Harvest, and kind of going lethality Caitlyn. Neither of those things will be good for this because you have to build crit to make these buffs worth it. So 2.5% additional damage per 10% crit strike chance. It's now 3.5% additional damage per 10% crit chance. So as an AD carry, we all know you can get 100% crit if you build a proper crit build. So you're talking, that's a decent amount of damage if Caitlyn's at is at 100% crit. So that's not bad. So yeah, look out for Caitlyn ults, I guess. Camille, AD growth increased and on hit damage increased also. I always, people are basically saying, by the way, what happened just to Aatrox is about to happen to Camille. These are unnecessary buffs. Camille feels fine. You see them still to this day. She doesn't seem weak at all. So potentially it's the exact same thing is just going to happen of they're buffing it. It's going to take over top lane. And then in 2 weeks time, again, there's going to be a nerf to Camille. So yeah, also worth knowing, I maybe I should have said this announcement right at the beginning of this video, but in 2 weeks time there's another patch. Obviously I will not be doing a patch note video because I am away on a break in 2 weeks time. So yeah, do not expect a patch note video from me in 2 weeks. Attack damage growth obviously is going up by 0.3 per rank, which don't sleep on that, that's not bad. And then the ultimate is the base bonus magic damage per attack is going up considerably. Like, this is questionable. So it was 5, 10, 15. It's now 20, 30, 40. That's a really big buff. I don't know if she needs that, but... Well, she doesn't probably need that, but yeah. Gwen, base health regeneration increased, and W bonus armor and magic resist increased. Again, Gwen is another champion quite like Camille that is very frustrating when they're, I wouldn't even say really strong. If they're average strength, these type of champions, their kits are so good. They can be average in strength, but their kit kind of brings them up to that upper tier of champion. But we'll see. So health regeneration per 5 seconds is going up, so that's better for top lane phase. And then W Hallowed Mist, bonus armor and magic resist, so making her tankier, is going up by 5 per rank. That's a lot, by the way. So like at rank 1, it was 17. It's now 22. That is a considerable amount of more armor and magic resist in the early game trading. Because again, I'm pretty sure you max W, I think, last. So just a 5 buff straight away, that's not bad. Ivan. So yeah, obviously the Ivan buffs went a little bit out of hand. You saw them building full ability power and all this stuff and doing considerable damage. So magic resistance decreased, W ally on hit damage increased, however. E shield strength adjusted, R daisy duration decreased, armor and magic resist decreased, health decreased, and attack damage decreased. Ivan nerfs across the board. He has probably needed them, to be fair, but I do feel sorry for Ivan players because they were kind of just in their own little world. They were just getting by. And then for some reason, Riot overbuffed Ivan, made a lot of junglers pick him up. I even played Ivan, you know, a lot of us did. And then now they're nerfing him absolutely to the ground. So I do kind of feel sorry a bit for Ivan players. But magic resistance is going down. Both, by the way, base magic resist and also magic resist per level is going down. So again, this is typical for other ranged champions. So they're just saying like, oh, we kind of had the wrong scaling on him all along. We gave him melee scaling, not ranged scaling. Ally on hit damage, though, is going up. So what they're, I think, arguably trying to do is, you know, that's a decent buff. They're kind of like doubling the on-hit damage that you're giving to your allies if they're standing in your bushes. They're trying to make him a pure support again. So they don't want him to be a carry. They don't want him to be a full AP damage dealer. No, your job is to protect and help your team do more damage. You are not the carry, which is what Ivan is supposed to be. But yeah. Shield strength is going down, up across the board as base shield, but a lower AP ratio. So once again, incentivizing to not build full AP because it's not giving you as much. And yeah, this will be a buff for Ivan's shield until he gets 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 ability power. And then Daisy, it no longer lasts a minute, it lasts 45 seconds, so a 25% nerf. Armor and magic resistor Daisy as well is going, well, up at level 6, but then down later on into the game. The health of it is also going, well, it's going down considerably at rank 1, but then its maximum peak is actually getting better. But arguably it's a nerf because you're not going to be building as much ability power as you used to. And then attack damage for Daisy also, it's a EP ratio nerf from when Ivan built AP. It was giving Daisy attack damage. So, yeah. Nerfs across the board, I'm afraid, for Ivan. He's going to be back to probably his absolute niche Ivan players only. Which, yeah, for the type of champion, I guess it does make sense. Kai'Sa. So, again, these nerfs... the last few days, it's hard to avoid. You know, I don't love to spoil myself with the patch notes because I like to react to them while I'm doing this type of video. But it's been hard to avoid people talking about this because Kai'Sa is in every single game. Like, if she's not banned, she's in your game. She's played 3 roles, arguably. She's in AD carry, she's in mid, and hell, I've even seen it top lane. And yeah, her build... it's just unhealthy for the game. There's not much skill expression to what she's doing. Building like the crazy AP stuff once again, hitting the W's from across the screen. It's just not healthy. And I know if people are watching this and you have climbed a bunch playing Kai'Sa, you might go, oh, it sucks that they're nerfing. I climbed so much doing it. But that's kind of the problem, is it's become so many people's go-to to climb because it's a really easy way to climb. So yeah, I'm hoping it will tone it down. If they don't change static Shiv, though, which I don't think they are, it probably won't do a lot. So the base health of her, and this will help, is going down by 30 health at rank 1. So it makes her more vulnerable to being killed in early lane phase, which is good. Her Q is getting a nerf to the AP ratio, so a 10% ability power ratio nerf. The maximum single target damage of an unevolved Q is also going down. So it was 67.5 AP ratio. It's now going to a 45%. And the evolved version was a 112.5% ability power ratio. It's going down to a 75% ability power ratio. So pretty big nerfs for the Q, but obviously the bigger thing that people really annoyed with is the W, is the just rocket fire W from a screen away. If it hits you, she gets a partial refund of it, and then another one comes. And with a lot of hitboxes in League of Legends, the hitbox is a little bit off, so you get hit when you don't think you should. And this has been the bigger thing that people are moaning about because, you know, the cooldown reduction after the evolution was 77%. It's going to a 75%. So, you know, they're only taking 2% off of it. That's ridiculous. That's not going to do anything. So functionally, this is 8.7% cooldown increase on hit, is what Riot is saying. I still think this is nowhere near the nerfs that are needed, and this is what people were trying to explain even in Reddit to Freak, and because he's just not having any of it. You know, it's the thing to say. A lot of people are saying his patch note videos he does himself are becoming more kind of like dictation, like, you know, dictator. This is what it is. I'm not listening to you, rather than him actively having communication with the community. Because what he fails to understand and what the balance team fails to understand, there is a difference between numbers and feel. The balance team, including Freak, have completely lost the feel of the game. That they will just look and go, oh, you know, AP Kai'Sa, you know, people don't like it, but it's got a 50.5% win rate. It's not a problem. What they fail to understand is that doesn't tell you the feel of the game. It's really frustrating to play against that. It's not fun. It's not, you know, there's not skill expression to play it. It's very frustrating to play against. And there was a big old Reddit thread about AP Kai'Sa the other day, and someone was like, I'd rather face 100 Dariuses than more AP Kai'Sas. That's what the dev team doesn't understand. It's about level of frustration, and they can't get that in their statistics of how they balance the game. And I truly do think Riot, they need to change their approach to balance, because they are ignoring the feel of the game. They are way too into their data, because every single time there is that kind of communication with Freak and the community, the biggest thing that he always does is he doesn't talk about feel. He just starts quoting and firing numbers and percentages at you. And that's all he does, because that's how they're balancing the game. They don't talk about, oh yeah, it is frustrating to play AP against AP Kaiser. They don't say that. They just throw statistics at you. So it's even hard for the community to argue their point, because Riot will just kind of go with all these, numbers, and that's all they care about. So it's a frustrating time, I think, both for the dev team, because they are so number driven that they don't get why the community isn't happy. But then the community isn't happy because they're being ignored with the feel of the game. So it's a very weird dynamic kind of going on. But yeah. Maokai, Q damage to monsters decreased. So Maokai jungle was actually starting to kind of take over pro play. I did see one Maokai jungle, I think, today, and it was quite strong. So they're just toning that down, lessening his jungle clear. Nami, don't see this champion much anymore. Passive bonus movement speed increased and Q base damage increased. The problem with Nami, and similarly to another champion, you kind of only saw Nami with one other champ for a long time, and that was Lucian. And the exact same for Lucian. You only saw Lucian if there was Nami. And then obviously Riot kind of got rid of their synergy because it was too strong. And now you don't see either of these champions, because Lucian doesn't scale nowhere near as much as he needs to be relevant now. Draven even arguably scales better than him, or he does scale better than him. And again, Nami just doesn't offer as much as other supports do. So yeah. So the bonus movement speed though is going up. So there's that. And then the Q Aqua Prison is going increase in damage. I don't think the problem with Nami is her lack of damage, but I don't know. I don't see this as going to bring Nami back, but if you're a Nami main or something, then I guess you're getting a little bit of a stronger time. Rel, multiple quality of life adjustments made to Rel. So yeah, her mid scope came out strong in some ways and weak in others. So they're just kind of doing some quality of life changes. Literally, that's it. So all spells and autos attacks now apply the damage first, and then apply the passive. And then Q maintains the original target location after flashing, which is changing to Q maintains the absolute direction after flashing. This should feel more intuitive and in line with expectation outcomes. So yeah, you basically should be able to Q flash and it will follow the direction of the flash when it wasn't doing that before. So then that's modernizing, obviously, Rel, which is good. And then the W is increased dash speed before the flip once she's locked onto a target. This should both solve bugs and make the ability feel quicker and more responsive. And then the other one is fix the bug that was causing Rel's W mount up to not apply bonus damage to epic monsters if you are trying to jungle with her. Okay. Sejuani, base damage, W base damage decreased. I presume this, yeah, I was going to say, this is like a pro play thing. I don't see Sejuani's. So Sejuani, like Maokai, has been a top tier pro jungler this season. Yeah, literally no idea. So the initial cast is going down, base damage is going down, and then the second cast is also base damage going down. But again, not a considerable amount, 10 per rank. 10 damage per rank. And what you have to kind of always say, and I know damage is so relevant in League of Legends, but realistically, she's a full tank. She shouldn't be doing damage. So I know tanks do damage, and that's what I imagine if you're a Sejuani player, you're going to go, but what about Ornn? He does so much damage as a tank, which is fair and true. This is the not fair side to balancing the game. Right now, they're just focusing on Maokai and Sejuani. Maybe next time they'll focus on something else, but yeah. Shyvana. So Shyvana's last round of changes are a bit too fire. So yeah, as we said, they overbuff things quite often. So the attack damage growth was 3.4 per level. It's going to 3 per level. And the health growth is also going down, 109 per level to 104. Because obviously I've played Shyvana a few times. I think I might have even played... Did I play one today? Maybe. You might be getting another one in a few days. So you might be getting 2 Shyvana videos in the next few days. It's a tank AD build. So you get Blade of the Ruined King and then you go tanky and it's pretty damn decent. I'm sure that's still going to be good on her. but it's not going to be OP, and she was actually kind of becoming OP. Talia, Q damage increased, E cooldown decreased early, and damage to monsters increased, so if you wanted to jungle with her. But the magic damage of the Q is going up 5 per, I guess, boulder, maybe? And then the E, obviously the mines, a bit of a better early cooldown, which is good, but a better also jungle clearing potential. So if you wanted to jungle, she's a bit better, but she's getting little buffs all around. I don't think she can survive as much in the jungle, if I'm completely honest. Like, imagine if a Talia was against a Kha'Zix or a Rengar or a Hecarim. How is she going to survive? They'll just invade her, sneeze, and she'll die. So I don't think you can realistically jungle with her unless you know what you're against in jungle and it's a really weak jungler. Like, someone's playing Zyra jungle. Okay, I'll play Talia. Maybe. But, yeah, I just don't see... I don't see it. For mid lane, matchup specific, I think it can work. But, yeah. Yasuo passive shield scaling adjusted. So the shield strength was 125 to 600. It's now 125 to 600. But it now mirrors a base stat scaling instead of based on level. Okay. And then Yone, the same. So W shield strength increased. But obviously Yone's is linked to... I thought it's linked to his W. Shield strength was 45 to 65 based on level plus 65% bonus a day. It's now 60 to 80 based on level plus 75% bonus a day. So he's actually getting a bigger buff than in Yasuo, when I think Yasuo is the one that needs the bigger buff. Okay. Smite and ultimate summons. So again, this is a little bit controversial, but yeah, currently Smite has 2 damage values, one for champions, one for everything else. Unfortunately for pet champions like Annie and Ivan, that everything else includes pets who are supposed to live long enough to be useful. Smite all, but removing a champion's ultimate is pretty unfair. Additionally, uniquely amazing at dealing with summoners is not a strength we think junglers need. We're electing to make Smite's interaction with pets the same as it is against the champions who summon them, low damage, and then when upgraded, a slow. So for ultimate pets themselves, there are a few goals. First, by nerfing Smite against them, they need to become a little bit less durable as compensation. So before, you could just Smite a Daisy or an Annie, and it would really, really harm it. Now it's not going to be doing practically any damage to them. But because now they don't just get smited away and that's it, they're making both Daisy, and that we've already seen it, Daisy has been nerfed durability. I don't know if we've seen Annie have a... Oh, it's down there. But yeah, we're seeing nerfs to Daisy and Tibbers, reflecting that they're not going to just get smited away. So at level 6, these pets are durable for a 1v1 fight, but also don't ramp up to mid-game. Team fight at level 9 or 10. By shifting their durability into champion level instead of ultimate rank scaling, these rough edges can be sanded off. Finally, we're removing some AP scaling from pets' durability. While that scaling helps round out the pet's durability, it's important that ultimate pets have a reliable baseline of durability and function. Cool. So then Smite, as you can see here, is damage to non-lane minions. Was 60, 90, 1200, so you could practically nearly one-shot, a Daisy or something. It's now going to 20, based on level 1, but obviously they can't have Daisy or Tibbers at level 1, to a maximum of 160. So nowhere even near what it could even do at the beginning of the old game. So yeah, it's really bad. But it is now giving, when it's upgraded, a 20% slow for 2 seconds. Unlocked on the second upgrade of Primal Smite, which is obviously the same that you can do to enemy champions as well. So yeah, that's a big deal. So some people are like, they can't make up their mind. Can you smite these things? Can you not? This is the second time, maybe even third, that this has changed. So Annie changes for Tibbers. So the armor and magic resist is being flattened out to level from level 6 to 18, but it's also losing its 5% AP scaling. So no more bonus resistances from AP scaling. And the exact same thing for health. So Tibbers used to be a 1300 summon, then 22, then 31, plus a 75% ability ratio. It's now 1150 to 3500, so it's technically more, but a much less AP ratio. And then late game, this is approximately a 5 to 10% durability decreased. You okay, Miss Maya? She's shaking her head. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Maya was playing with her bed. Heimerdinger, though, I think that's where I left off. This obviously will affect Heimerdinger's ultimate turret. So not his normal Q ones, because they could always just get smited. They're like a minion, basically. The ultimate turret used to have 850 to 1450 health based on level. So obviously nowhere near a Tibbers, for example. It's going technically, well, down in the early game, up in late game. But then obviously 25 to 200% ability power scaling is what it used to have. It's now only a 50% ability power scaling. The turret armor was 10 to 80 based on level. It's now 30 to 90. Probably because, again, this is a big health nerf for late game Heimer turret. So he's getting a little bit better resistances. And then the magic resist on it is reflecting the same thing. So he's getting a bit better armor and magic resist, but he's losing a lot of health on that turret. Yorick, again, Maiden obviously the same. So Maiden of the Mist will now regenerate 2.5 health per second, so she actually now can regen. The armor and magic resist, she used to have 0. She now has 10 at starting at level 6, up to 50 armor and magic resist at level 18. And then the health was 350, 1100, 3300, and then 75% of Yorick's maximum health. It's now 400 to 1950, much less, obviously. And also a nerf to the Yorick's maximum health. So I do know some people are a bit annoyed about Yorick. Obviously, he's the king of split push, and that's a frustrating thing for some people. So that is arguably quite a big nerf to Yorick's Maiden. Night Harvester. So this is a nice change if you've been annoyed by LeBlanc. Obviously, some LeBlancs do the Night Harvester route. Some LeBlancs do already Luden's Echo, probably preempting that this is going to get nerfed anyway. So it used to, you just had to damage an enemy champion, so an auto attack would count. So that's where a LeBlanc with Static Shiv, Night Harvester, Lich Bane could W, which would proc the Lich Bane for your next auto attack, just auto attack, and that would proc the Static Shiv, Zappy, the Night Harvester damage, and the Lich Bane auto attack proc, because you used an ability, your W, which triggers it. Now you have to damage an enemy champion with an attack, an ability, or pet damage. So items no longer proc Night Harvester. So this is just toning down the interaction between Night Harvester and Static Shiv. Because I even think it was procking, technically, if, let's say, you had Static Shiv, Night Harvester as LeBlanc, and you couldn't quite auto-attack the enemy champion, you could auto-attack a minion nearby, and the zap of the Static Shiv, if that linked to the enemy champion, then it would proc Night Harvester. So, yeah. Glacial Augment. Glacial Augment is pretty overpowered right now, so they're just toning it down. So the Icy Zone is going from a 30% to a 20%, but it's getting you off better AP ratio and better bonus AD. Okay. Arena balance changes, we're not going to go into them right now, but obviously they are trying to balance it somewhat here or there, although it's going to be a fairly hard job. Bug fixes and quality of life changes, I've always said, if you play a champion, we all should try and technically read these, but like this is quite a big bug. I remember obviously this one myself. Fixed a bug where Rengar's ultimate was missing warning on screen effects for enemies. So like there literally has been a bug in the game where Rengar's ulting and you have no idea. It's not giving you the red outline or the thing over your head or the sound, and you just get jumped on and you die. So yeah, some bug fixes are quite big. So like Rengar players, if you're finding, wait, they're reacting to my ultimate properly again, that's probably why. But that is it. That is the patch note. So overall, again, I would have potentially liked to see other changes here or there, but we're never going to get everything that we want. And realistically, let me know what you guys think, but it's what I kind of spoke about earlier, is what we need to see moving forward in League is a shift from the balance team, which I don't even know if we're ever going to get, by the way, but we need to see a shift in mindset of the balance team to go away from just balancing purely on numbers and actually care about the feel of the game. I've said this for years. It's been the same balance team. They've obviously had the recent addition of Freak, which means AD carries are always going to be crazy, but I truly think they need to do something because people aren't overly happy. But anyway, that's going to be it. Let me know what you guys think. If you did enjoy, do throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Call down the reckoning to bring back home. dark regime. I know